Order, honorable members. Can you please take your seats? Order.
Order, please.
The Secretary will read the first order of the day.
Consideration of the 2025 fiscal framework and revenue proposals, and of the report of the Standing Committee on Finance.
Thank you very much, Dr. Order. There is a hand raised by the DA Chief Whip, as well as the EFF, and is it ATM? And MK. Can we start with the DA? Let me hear your point of order.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, I rise in terms of Rule 92 on a procedural matter. Madam Speaker, you would have received my letter this morning indicating that we are of the opinion that the report as it was published today, the final recommendation was not included and put before the committee last night as it appears in the ATC, and therefore it does fall foul of Section 8.4 of the Money Bills Amendment Procedure and Related Matters Act. I did receive your response. However, I wish to put on record that it is our opinion that this procedural matter is, that the matter is in procedural default. It must also be kept in mind that it's a matter of law, since the VAT increase will commence on the 1st of May 2025, and we would like to ask you to please send this report back to the committee on those procedural grounds, because if the House considers that report, despite the procedural defect, that this House would be complicit in considering what we believe to be an illegal report at this stage. Thank you.
Noted. Can I hear, I think it's Bossa. Was it Bossa or ATM? No, I've noted the other parties. I've noted you, EFF.
Thank you,
no,
Speaker.
you were the third. It's okay? Yes, honourable member.
Thank you, Speaker. I want to echo the sentiments from the Democratic Alliance regarding the issues that have been raised not only by them but also by MK and EFF on the flawed process that was followed to adopt the report that will be considered today. So based on that, our submission is that the committee must be requested to properly and legally follow the correct processes in terms of adopting that report, so that when it comes to the House, it comes to the House having gone through the proper legal channels. Thank you.
Thank you, EFF.
Thank you very much, Speaker. Speaker, we wrote to you last night, and your response that you sent to us earlier today is deeply unsatisfactory. And Speaker, I want to put it to you that you missed the point completely, because you are quoting a rule that seeks to say that it was the workings of the committee. It is not. It's a legal requirement, Speaker. If you look at the Money Bills Amendment Procedure and Related Matters Act, Section 8, subsection. Speaker, my mic is going off. So Section 8, subsection 4 clearly says that there must be a clear statement of whether we accept or we amend the fiscal framework and revenue proposals. We are putting it to you that you are misled to believe that that happened in the committee, because it did not. In your response, you are saying that you got advised that that happened. I sit in that committee. We were there from morning until evening. That did not happen. And we are saying to you, it's a question of a legal requirement, not a procedure of a committee. And therefore, we appeal to you to suspend today's proceedings, send back the scoff to go and do the right thing and comply with the law of this country in terms of that act. Otherwise, if you continue as Speaker, it will be procedurally unfair and unlawful. Therefore, we're asking you, please suspend today's proceedings. Let the Standing Committee on Finance go and agree, firstly, with a clear statement, as is stipulated in the Act, that it must be clear that it's either amending or accepting. The issue of the recommendations and the report, that's a separate issue altogether. Here we are dealing with an objection because of the illegality of the process that happened yesterday. I thank you, Speaker.
Thank you. Noted. The MK.
Thank you, Speaker. Speaker, we rise on the same issues that members are raising with a different angle. And the angle we are rising on for us on a procedural matter in terms of the monies bill is that in the monies bill that we're dealing with here today, the Money Bills Amendment Procedure and Related Matters Act, that act does not make provision for conditional acceptance. What we saw happening in the committee is a situation where one of the parties made a condition that they support the bill on condition that in 30 days this and that must happen. So we're saying, Speaker, that's procedurally flawed. There is nothing in that law that allows for conditional acceptance. So to bring a report here with a conditional acceptance is to bring a legally flawed report. Secondly, Speaker, in terms of the law, there is no latitude to reject the report. But if you go to the report, Chair, you go to the last line of the report, it has listed companies there that have rejected the report. That should have been the easiest of things to illustrate the illegality of this. It cannot be that you have a report that lists, on the last line, Speaker, have a look at that report. Even if you have to take a 10-minute adjournment, look at that report. You will find an unlawful line there that says this party, that party, that party rejected. The law does not allow you to reject. So to have a report that talks about the rejection, we have a report that is unlawful. We're calling on you, Speaker, to do two things. One, to declare this sitting, to declare the processing of this report as an unlawful processing. And we're calling on your conscience, Speaker, to say you cannot lead an unlawful process. So we're calling on you to, and if you differ with that, Speaker, we're asking that you put this matter on the vote, and as you do, we allow us to vote individually if you differ with the fact of declaring this an unlawful processing of the report. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Honorable members, I have noted all the hands that have been raised in respect of this matter. Honorable members, as we know, the passage of the fiscal framework and the budget are determined by the Money Bills and Related Matters Act of 2009. In the case of the fiscal framework, Section 8 of the Act prescribes that the Standing Committee must consider the fiscal framework within certain parameters. Moreover, in terms of its report, Section 8, subsection 4 of the Act states that, I quote, "The report must include a clear statement accepting or amending the fiscal framework," close quote. The dispute is whether, in the process of concluding the report, the question to accept the fiscal framework was duly considered by the committee. Honorable members, the Act does not determine the specific details of the decision-making process within the committee. The rules of the House do, however, provide some guidance. Assembly Rule 232 provides that the committee must perform the function and exercise the power specified in the Act, as well as those listed in Rule 227. The committee can also exercise the power specified in Rule 167, except insofar as any of these provisions are inconsistent with the provisions of the Act. Rule 167, subsection F, in turn adds that a committee may determine its own working arrangements. I am advised that the draft report was formally adopted in the Standing Committee. The report before the House states the following on page 35, which I think has been quoted by Honorable Manye. I quote, having considered the 2025 fiscal framework and revenue proposal, the Standing Committee on Finance accept the 2025 fiscal framework and revenue proposal, close quote. On the basis of the report and advice received, I'm not convinced that the committee contravened the law or the rules when finalizing its report. Consequently, there is no legal impediment preventing this House today to proceed with its business. Honourable members, order. I also want to state that I received letters, even though at different times, from the economic freedom fighters, which landed on our desk at 5 a.m. this morning, asking us to respond by 8 o'clock, but because we were to satisfy ourselves about these matters, we missed their deadline, but we responded equally. We also received subsequently the letter of the Democratic Alliance, which again we responded to it, and the letter from Umkhonto Wesizwe Party, which again we responded to them on the matters that again they've just raised in this House for all of you to appreciate it, including even what was my response to those parties. So this is my ruling that we proceed with the report today. Thank you. Honorable Manye, an honorable member of the EFF.
Chairperson, I know how the rules work in terms of if one is not happy with the ruling. The issue I want to raise, Chair, is a different one. That purely based on facts, you say you've been advised. I want to put it to you, Madam Speaker, that you were improperly advised. The meeting ended around 6 o'clock. We can show evidence that the report was distributed at 7:30 at night. So it cannot be that two can't work together. You can't have a meeting finishing at 6 and have a report circulated at 7:30. Clearly the report was done after the meeting, and therefore the procedures were not followed. So to be advised that everything was done, you were misled, Speaker. You've taken a decision based on the wrong information. We ask you to adjourn the House for 10 minutes and get the facts right.
Honorable Manye, thank you very much. I've noted your concern, but you must also appreciate that when committees sit, you do have the staff of Parliament, all of whom were consulted in responding to your letters. Honorable member of the EFF.
Thank you, Speaker. Speaker, it's very painful that we have to repeat again and again the things we said in the committee. And even in the committee, we repeated many times, and the chairperson refused to follow what the law says. Now we come here, I'm going to read the act, what it says, Madam Speaker, because what you are quoting for is the procedure of the committee. But here is the act that guides what needs to happen once we've got the fiscal framework. Speaker, let me refer you to Section 8.
Honorable members, let's allow the member the privilege to quote the act which all of you have. You can Please. Quote the section you want to quote.
Yes, Section 8, adopting the fiscal framework and revenue proposals. And it reads as follows. The National Assembly and the National Council of Provinces must refer the fiscal framework and revenue proposals to their respective committee on finance. The committees must conduct joint public hearings on the fiscal framework and revenue proposals. The committees must, within 16 days of the tabling of the national budget, submit a report to the National Assembly and the National Council of Provinces as the case requires on the fiscal framework and revenue proposals. The report must include a clear statement accepting or amending the fiscal framework and revenue proposals. When amending the fiscal framework, a money bill, or taking any decisions in terms of this act, Parliament and its committees must ensure that there is an appropriate balance between revenue expenditure and borrowing. Speaker, there was never a time in the committee where the chairperson asked whether we are accepting the fiscal framework and revenue proposal or we are amending it. We are saying to you that did not happen. What happened is that we started with the report, And the chairperson asked us to have input on the report and make recommendations on the report. Even at the end, it was never subjected to whether we are accepting the fiscal framework and revenue proposal. And therefore, what is going to be tabled here today is procedurally unfair. We can't continue with a document that is procedurally unfair. It did not follow the process as stipulated by the Money Bills Act. We're asking you, Speaker, once again, please suspend the proceedings of today. Let's follow the law. We obviously have South Africans who are waiting for these monies, but we will not vote on a report that is illegal, Madam Speaker. Please, thank you.
Thank you. Can I ask Honorable Michalakis, followed by Honorable Zagude?
Thank you very much for the response, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, Rule 167 still requires the committee to fulfill its functions within the ambit of the law and the determinations of the law. The fact of the matter is that the members of the committee yesterday frequently asked for updated versions of the report as they were going through it. And the fact is that the final version of the report as it appears in the ATC was never presented and voted on by those members as a final step. That is a procedural irregularity. I respect your right to make the determination and the ruling, but I do have to stress, Madam Speaker, that there is a serious procedural defect in this, and we do stand a risk as a House to be part of that procedural irregularity if this vote does not get postponed today. So I would like to ask you to please take Rule 167 into consideration, as well as the facts that we've put before you this afternoon, that the procedure was not followed according to the law. Thank you.
Thank you, Honorable Zagude.
Thank you very much, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, I want to inform this House on a point of procedure that the Standing Committee on Finance followed all the processes according to the money bills. I didn't howl at you when you speak.
Chair. Point of order, Chair.
Order, honorable members. Can we allow
Point of order, Chair.
Honorables Tambo? Can we order? Honorable member, I will take a point of order, but I've given a member an opportunity.
This is a mistruth. She can't make a reflection of a committee she doesn't sit on. What is she reflecting on?
Honorable
She's
member.
reflecting on an ATC that is irregular, unlawful, adopted, unprocedurally.
Honorable,
She's telling us.
Honorable member, I have raised with you that no, you allow a member to conclude a point. I will give you an opportunity to raise your point of order. We can't allow a process that is just going to be unfair. Honorable members, each member is equal. I have given a member an opportunity, and also Honorable Tambo, other members have spoken here who don't sit in the committee, made their reflections. So it's not the first member. Other chief whips here, some of them don't sit in that committee, and they've spoken, they've made their reflections. So you can put your hand down, I will come to you. So can you please allow me to chair the session? Honorable Zagude.
Thank you very much, Honorable Speaker. Like I was saying, the Portfolio Committee, according to the report that we got, followed all the processes according to the money bills and also the rules of Parliament. We were then informed in the Chief Whip's Forum this morning by the EFF and also the MK that the sitting today is illegal and they are going to court if this sitting is not postponed. So we indicated to them that as the ANC, we are going to the sitting, and those who feels that the sitting is illegal, they shouldn't attend, because by mere of their attendance in this house now, it means they agree with the processes and also they are legitimizing the sitting. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Honorable Tambo. Order, honorable members. Honorable Tamok, what's your point of
Thank you
order?
very much, Chairperson. I think the first point of departure that we must state that although members of parliament should all be allowed to make reflections and contributions in parliament, it should be labeled and categorized as incorrect to reflect on the procedure of a meeting you did not attend and base your reflection on a report that is currently being contested in the House. The reflection on procedural processes that happened in the committee being made by Honorable Jagute is based on a report that we are currently debating whether it's valid or not. So her submission is invalid. Second to that, because we are saying that we can take this report to court, we must correct you on the timeline of when we sent you the letter. We didn't send you a letter at 5 a.m. this morning. It was sent to your office last night after we received this irregular report that did not contain the amendments we as members of parliament put into the report while we were in the committee. So the letter we sent to you was based on the fact that we received a final report that did not reflect recommendations and amendments that we stated in the committee, that had, in hindsight and in retrospect, a clause that accepts the fiscal framework of 2025 and revenue proposals, whereas we never deliberated on that in the committee. So please, let's refrain from reflecting on procedural occurrences in the committee when we were not there, and let us allow members of the committee who were there, who witnessed procedural errors. 3 political parties have raised that here today. Let's allow them to be the ones who guide those reflections and advise you. You are advised by people who manipulated a report. It's unlawful, it's illegal, and we must allow this House to conclude now. Thank you.
Well, thank you, honorable members. I do think I must reflect, as I've said earlier. Each letter I receive from a party, from a member of this House, I do read and consider it. I do get advice in terms of the rules, in terms of the procedure, before I satisfy myself and respond, which I did. And I've given a ruling on the basis of what I received from you and the advice I received. I do not see any reason why this House must not sit. And I do want to say, honorable members, anyway, all committee reports come to the House. It is the floor that will decide whether it accepts or rejects a report. And all of you, as you will be participating in the debate, you can decide that you reject this report, you do not accept it. And therefore, I will now proceed with the discussions. Honorable member, I am not suspending the House, nor am I giving a 10 minutes for consultation. Thank you very much. Honorable member of the EFF.
Speaker, thank you. I just need to correct this and put it on record that you did not receive the letter at 5 a.m. this morning. The letter was sent to your office at 11:46 last night. So your office is very much incompetent, and you can't say it was received. I've got proof here. So South Africans must know that the EFF wrote a letter to the Speaker at 11:46.
You're wasting time.
Madam Speaker, and you only responded to us now at 12.
Thank you, honorable member.
The second point, Speaker, let me just finish. It's incorrect for you to
Order, honorable members.
It's incorrect, Madam Speaker, for you to say all committee reports comes here and gets voted for. We are dealing with the fiscal framework and revenue proposal, which is guided by the Money Bills Act. And the Money Bills Act is very clear and explicit to say in the committee, there must be an indication of whether you accept.
Honorable member, you have repeatedly raised that point. Order, honorable member, can you allow us?
Even after numerous.
Can you allow us to point other members? You have made your point. You have raised the same points, and I've listened and I've responded.
I agree, Speaker, but you keep on saying the wrong things, and we must correct you.
Honorable member,
we must correct you.
Honorable member, you know the rules of this House. When a speaker or a presiding officer has ruled, you have got other channels to raise your point. And I don't think we need to belabor that. Honorable member of the PA?
Speaker, you have given us ample time to debate here. You have
Let's proceed, Speaker. Let's proceed. Let's proceed.
Remember, please allow a member to say their point.
Speaker, you've given us a chance to debate. We've heard our views. You have ruled. Now we're being asked of things of midnight. You are the security guard that was looking at your computer the whole night. Let us vote for the budget. The people are waiting. Let us vote.
Order, honorable members, I've closed this debate. I'm now allowing the chairperson of the committee to actually come and table the report. On a point of order, House Chair. On a point of order, House Chair. Speaker, on a different point. Speaker, on a point of order. Point of order, House Chair. Honorable members, I have closed the debate on the point of order, whether the issue must be debated or not. Honorable Speaker, on a different point. Honorable members, on a different point. I will take a different point when we've tabled the report. Honorable Manya, you can put your point down. On procedural matters, I've responded to you on this matter. And the item on the agenda is on the tabling of the report of the fiscal framework. And we must proceed. We have taken your points. We've heard that some of you have a problem with it, but I've responded and I've closed the matter. Speaker, I'm raising on a different point. Can I continue? No, honorable member. It's a sound. I want to raise the issue of the sound. Okay, the sound people have heard, they are going to correct the sound. No, we don't hear anything, Speaker. On a point of order, Speaker. Honorable member, people's forum will raise the issue of the sound. Honorable member, the sound has been attended to. Honorable member, with the problem of the sound. Honorable Mkalipi, you have said you wanted to raise a point on the sound. The sound people must deal with the sound, but we must continue.
No, we can't hear.
What are you responding
We cannot
to?
hear.
You are responding to what?
The members that are dealing with the sound are going to address it. Honorable,
We can't hear, Speaker.
Honorable Manye, if it's the point about the report, I've ruled on that. So I don't think we're going to take another new point on that matter.
Fix the
So
sound,
what is your
Speaker. We don't hear anything.
You are hearing everything.
What is your point of order, Honorable Manye, which is not on this matter?
Thank you, Chair. Thank you, Madam Speaker. The only point I'm rising on is not to deal with anything that you've dealt with. It's just to correct for the record of this House that as the MK party, we only got acknowledgement of the letter, but we didn't get the response. I've seen other responses to other parties, but the response to MK has not arrived as we speak. There is no response on the issue that we've raised.
Well, you
put that on the record.
Honorable member, you can also check on your report or on your emails. The response was given to the MK party. What I did not do is to respond to you on WhatsApp, because you also sent your letter on the WhatsApp. I sent it on the official email. And to come back to the issue at hand, let's have the honorable member, the chairperson of the committee, to table the report. On a point of order, House Speaker. On a point of order, Speaker. What is the point of order, honorable member?
Speaker, the sound, we cannot hear a thing.
Yes.
We cannot hear anything.
We can't hear.
I'm not sure if you address the issue of sound.
Honorable Reddy, the issue of the sound
with a meeting.
The
where
issue
we cannot hear anybody.
You know, honorable members,
and your members across are making the biggest noise here.
It's very interesting because I can hear you, but you can't hear me. Very interesting.
We cannot hear you.
It's a very
Why are you
interesting
responding
take,
if you can't hear?
because I'm responding to you and you are responding to me. So
Honorable Hlangwini, what's your point of order?
Thank you very much, House Chair. You know what, House Chair, what is quite embarrassing and what is quite sad, it's your desperation this afternoon. You can clearly hear that there are issues with the sound and your reluctance to just give us a 10-minute break to sort out the sound issues. Because it's not only about me and you seated in this tent, it's about the millions of South Africans that are waiting on this house to make a decision. And to only make it about you, it's wrong. And to only make it about the ANC, yet again,
We can hear you very well.
Stop wanting to be a voting kettle. Stop addressing the issue of the sound. Let's take a 10-minute break. The sound and the echo, it's bad. And that is a reflection on the videos that we are putting out there to our constituency. We are saying this is a people's parliament, so let us act as that and stop this rubber
Sound
stamping
is
that you are
perfect. We
planning to
can
do
hear
this
you.
afternoon.
Our people can hear you, Speaker. Continue.
Order, member, the member of the PA.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. Speaker, I agree with all parties complaining about the sound. It is now and then a bit inaudible. But I've got two solutions. One, I've tested the headphones, it works perfectly, and it solves the problem with the sound. And secondly, if they are quiet, they will hear the sound better, Honorable Speaker, because we've got South Africa waiting on the budget, and we cannot waste the time of our citizens of this country by listening to frivolous things when we do have solutions. Thank you.
Thank you, Honourable Member Nolchuru.
Thank you very much, Speaker. We are going to vote at the end of the session. And I want to appeal to you that this is a matter that is very important, that you allow that each and every individual stands up and vote verbally. It is not something new. It is not something
Sit down, eh?
Order, honourable members, let's allow the member to raise their point.
She's abusing us.
No, honourable member, you've got no right. That's my right to determine whether what the member is saying is out of order or not. Honourable member, can you finish your point?
Yes, it will not be the first time that we do that. Remember, on the issue of Phala Phala, we did the same. When Judge Stoppe, we voted verbally, so I'm appealing to you that we entertain that process for today. Thank you.
Thank you, honourable member of the of the MK party.
Thank you, Chair. Thank you, Madam Speaker. We support, but we are saying it should be on a secret ballot. I'm supporting it should be on a secret ballot.
We're not in a PGM, yeah. We're not in a PGM.
Honourable member, order. I have a duty to ensure the smooth conduct of proceedings. Order, honourable members. I also have to ensure that the privileges of all members of the sittings are protected. Honourable members at the back, on the side of the EFF and side of the MK, you can converse, but you mustn't drown other members. I also want to indicate that all members have got the same privileges. And that is why I've listened carefully to each one of you and the interventions. We've done that. And therefore, honourable members, we must now proceed. I've heard the request by the EFF Chief Whip, and I just want to inform her that earlier on we had received a request from the Democratic Alliance requesting that there must be a voice recording. of the vote when we come to voting. We've also received a request from the MK party. Now, I am not sure whether you did consult together, because the first request we received from the MK party was that it must be a show of hands. So we will formally inform you when that time comes what process are we going to follow. But I just want to alert all parties that the three parties did make a request on the mode of voting that must be followed. Thank you very much. I'll now ask the chair to table the report.